What's the odds your job will be automated by a computer in the next 20 years? Find out on today's show.
This is the Brett Mason Show. Hey, hey, hey. My name is Brett. This is my show. This is my show.
And here we go with a big Friday, May 29th podcast. Brett Mason, hello, how are you? Thank you so much for listening to the show today. Yesterday we hit a new high for listeners. Thank you very much. And that's possible in large part because if you listened yesterday, thank you. And if you didn't, I'll let you know. I requested right up front. If you want to do your old pal Brett Mason a favor, just share this Facebook link on your Facebook page and go, oh, look, Brett Mason's doing stupid stuff you can listen to. That's the best thing in the world you could do. So if you'd like to do that, I'd appreciate it. If you don't want to share it, by all means, don't. I don't share stuff I don't want to share, and I don't expect you to do any different. But you could do me a solid by doing that. And once again, let me thank Courtney and the folks over at Toyota Dothan Rental Cars who sponsor the Brett Mason podcast every day. Without them, I wouldn't be doing this show. Courtney's so awesome. I don't know if you go in there to get a car. I mean, you're going to get a good deal, but if you go in there, get Courtney to show you pictures of her new baby. Oh, she's so pretty. She's the prettiest baby. It's a big show today. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we're going to be talking about J-Lo and clowns. It's tough for me to talk about the clowns. Also, if you've ever been in this position, you know how horrible it is. I kind of was in this, not really exactly in this position, but my career in radio was, a lot of it was phased out and, well, my job never got phased out because of automation, but my salary definitely got decreased because of automation, and the opportunities in radio decreased because of automation, because that's a job you can automate. A lot of the people you hear on the radio, like if you're in Dothan, a lot of people that you hear on the radio in Dothan, they don't live in Dothan. They've never been to Dothan. They don't know anything about Dothan. It's automated. They pay somebody a tenth of what they would pay a full-time person to send in what's called voice tracks. And so that's automation for you. So coming up in a little bit, we're going to be talking about what are the odds. Somebody has come up with a computer mathematical simulation that purports to predict the odds that your job will be axed due to automation within the next 20 years. What this could do, potentially, is give you the opportunity to maybe start looking at a new career. You can have a leg up on everybody else that doesn't see it coming. And so we'll talk about the link and where you can find that, and I'll go over some jobs with you, some more of the popular ones. So you may be able to get some kind of idea how much longer you got at your job. But we're going to kick things off today. I'm going to pat myself on the back and give myself a round of applause. Today makes 1 year since I stopped smoking cigarettes. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll tell you what I found interesting about the stopping the smoking is you do one good thing, and people pat you on the back and applaud you without making any mention of what a complete ignoramus you were for all the other years. I was one of those folks that got trapped when I was a teenager. I think I was 15 when I smoked my first cigarette. And of course, it was horrible. Oh, it was horrible. And I did it to fit in. That's the reason I did it. I was with a couple of people that did it. I didn't want to do it. My parents didn't smoke. My parents didn't drink. My parents didn't do any of that stuff. I had no desire to do it, but you want to fit in, and that's what happened. Thankfully for kids today, the peer pressure in most circles is a lot less. Now, there's still an element of kids that smoke, and I saw an article on this the other day that this vaping, this smoking these, vapor cigarettes. They just came out with a study that showed that the vapor in those things damages the epithelial lining of the lung in a similar way, and potentially even worse than cigarette smoke does. And I said this for a long time because I hear these commercials about, oh, you can stop smoking with these e-cigarettes. Have you really stopped smoking if you're just smoking a different something, And they're like, oh, it's water vapor. Well, it's not water vapor. My understanding is it's the same stuff that goes in fog machines, and that's not water. It's not just water vapor. look, if you've used those and you've quit smoking, I think it potentially could be better for you, maybe, because there's all these unknown chemicals in cigarettes and all kind of bad stuff in cigarettes, the tar, but you're still getting nicotine and you're still smoking. And now this study, and I think the more studies come out, you're just going to find it's probably not all that safe. I think you might have made a move in the right direction by moving to that, or in a better direction, but man, you really need to quit. So how did I quit? Well, there's not a whole lot I can tell you, because at this exact same time last year, I also decided to become a mostly raw vegan. And being vegan means that you don't eat any meat. You don't, you don't eat anything that has a face or a mother or came from something with a face or a mother. So, there's no milk, there's no dairy, there's no cheese, there's no eggs, there's no meat. So none of that stuff. Sour cream is gone, butter's gone, milk is gone. It really wasn't hard, though. And I'll tell you why this has been great for me, because a person who's always liked to eat a lot, when you go to a mostly raw vegan diet, which means you're eating a lot of fruit and a lot of vegetables, you have to eat so much to get your calories in. You literally can't stop eating. Like, that's all you do all day is eat food. Now, if you're a person that has weight issues and you have a problem with eating, what better diet is there than a diet where you get to eat food nonstop from the time you wake up till the time you go to sleep at night? Like, I literally just consume calories all day long. And I'm, some people call it a fruitarian, but I'm more heavily on the fruit side. And, God, fruit is so good for you. These lies about the sugar in fruit being bad, they're just lies. It's not bad for you. Matter of fact, people switch over to these mostly fruit diets and cure their diabetes. So obviously the sugar's not a problem. But I love fruit. So it's food that I love to eat. And I just get to eat tons of it. And I just eat fruit and vegetables all day long. So anyway, back to the smoking thing. The day that I switched to that, I was new to it. I was very nervous about it, and I knew it was going to be hard for me to get my calories in. So a couple of things happened, I think, that allowed me to quit rather painlessly and effortlessly. Well, it was effortless. It really was. One, I was starting another new thing, which required me to try to get enough food all day. So I was thinking about food that whole day. I think I was so distracted by trying to eat enough food my first day that I couldn't there was no lull in the action of my brain for me to want a cigarette. And I think around 9 o'clock that night, it dawned on me that I hadn't smoked since noon or something. And I looked at my pack of cigarettes, and there was one cigarette left in there. And normally, I would have jumped in the car, went down to the convenience store on the Circle, and I would have bought another pack of cigarettes, because the last thing you want to do as a smoker is wake up the next morning and be out of cigarettes or only have one, knowing that you're going to need another one pretty soon. But I felt so good. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to smoke this cigarette, and B, I'm just going to let it sit here and not worry about tomorrow. I'll just see what happens the next day. So I woke up the next day, and I believe I had one of my favorite things ever. It's a banana date coconut water smoothie, which is just divine, and got my day going. And honestly, half the day had gone by before I even thought about a cigarette. And I looked up on the shelf there where I kept the cigarettes, and I'm like, I just don't want one. I haven't wanted one. I'm just done with them. But I'm going to leave it sitting there. And I just never looked back. I mean, a day later, I didn't even, it was just the next day I didn't even think about a cigarette. And honestly, the only time I ever think about a cigarette now is when somebody asks me about it. I don't ever think about them. I don't want one. I don't need one. And I smoked a long time. So what's my tip for quitting smoking? Well, let's go mostly raw vegan. It worked for me. So look, I sympathize with anybody that smokes, but I tell you, I see all the things now that everybody else had to go through in their life with me. We were up at UAB earlier in the week, and you're going up and down those elevators, and boy, when somebody steps in that elevator with you that's just been outside smoking a cigarette, it will knock you down. And I was like, holy cow, I used to do this to people. I used to step into an elevator with people and nearly knock them out. Why were they so polite to me? Of course, I'm polite because I was that guy, and I could never be rude to a smoker. But you just realize, here's another thing. You always notice, have you ever noticed this in the movies where somebody's smoking and they're hiding it from their spouse. You're not hiding anything from anybody. If you smoke a cigarette, trust me, your spouse and anybody in a 20-foot radius knows that you smoked a cigarette. You're just not hiding it. That's so, I kind of suspected that, but once I quit smoking, I really saw that to be true. There's no way I could be with somebody, dating or married them, and them hide their smoking from me. I mean, they would have to stop smoking, I guess, early in the morning. They'd have to take 3 or 4 showers, and then they'd have to put on clothes that they'd never smoked in, because those smoking clothes, even after you wash them, they still smell like smoke. You have to wash them like 4 or 5 times to get the smoke out. So I've noticed that in several movies and TV shows where somebody's always hiding the smoking from their spouse. I remember that episode of Friends where Ross and them went back and he caught his dad hiding the cigarettes in the garage. And I'm like, he ain't fooling nobody. Anyway, if my tip for helping you stop smoking isn't what you were hoping to hear, or, you're struggling with it, or you know somebody that it is, I'm actually going to have somebody on the show a little bit later. Her name is Heather Bestel, and she has a few tips on stopping smoking, and we'll have that coming up. Plus, we'll be talking about J-Lo and clowns. Oh, God. You see what happens to me when I say the word clown.
This is the Brett Mason Show. Hey, hey, hey.
Right now, the show sponsored by Toyota Dothan Rental Cars. Yes, they rent cars over at Toyota Dothan. Now, if you want one of those, what are they called, Highlanders or something? Oh, there's a big, nice SUVs. I've rented one of those a couple of times. They're so nice. The Avalon, I love that Avalon. It's great gas mileage and it's luxury. It's like a step up from the Camry. And then usually what I do get is the Camry because it's the absolute best price on gas and it's the absolute best price to rent. So, we do a lot of traveling up to UAB, and we'll stop by and get a Camry for that. We get the Avalon sometimes, though. But, God, their rates are so great. Some of these fees that these rental car places charge you, they either don't have them or they're a lot lower at Toyota Dothan. Courtney can hook you up over there. You can shoot her an email and just say, hey, I got your email address from Brett Mason. He said you rented cars. What's the deal with that? Her email address is Courtney@toyotaofdothan.com. Courtney@toyotadothan.com. Of course, you can just go to toyotadothan.com, go to the rental section, look at some of the prices. But tell them Brett Mason says that sent you and that we appreciate them sponsoring the show. That'd be awesome if you do that.
This is the Brett Mason Show. Hey, hey, hey.
So I was browsing through Facebook and I saw this headline that somebody posted a link to that said, Jennifer Lopez glitter bombed by a creepy clown at LAX. Well, if you know me, you know that my body literally shuddered from head to toe when I read the word clown. I don't even have to say it, I can just read it. I don't like clowns. Clowns got something to hide. So I wanted to go see this video of her getting glitter bombed. I wanted to see it so bad, but I didn't want to see a clown. I'm like, I don't want to see that. Don't show me no clown. So finally, after like 5 minutes, I saw a couple of people post it, and then it popped up over the trending, If you're on Facebook on a laptop or a desktop, you got that trending column over there. So this is what everybody's talking about. Like, oh, God, everybody's talking about J-Lo and the clown. I got to go watch this video. Well, I watched the video. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. There was no clown in the video. I didn't see no clown. I barely even saw the glitter bombing, but she did look good. She's wearing some tight jeans. She had her midriff showing. For her age, boy, not just for her age. She looks good for any age. But, a lot of people don't look the same at 40 they looked at 20. She looks really good. She's really smoking hot. But let me tell you something. I don't know part of a clown. If I were J-Lo, and obviously I'm not equipped to be J-Lo, I got the wrong equipment in the wrong places, and I stepped out of a car or something, and a clown jumped in, let me tell you something. People be getting knocked down. That clown be risking life and limb. Somebody going to get stepped on, shot, or stabbed or something. This is a word to the wise. Don't ever sneak up on me in a clown suit. Don't ever sneak up on me in a clown suit. Is it unreasonable? It's probably unreasonable. It's probably unreasonable. I'm saying it's not unreasonable to be, but I don't know what it is. I just don't want to pirate. It's quick clown story. Way back when I was doing a morning show with Jerry Broadway, way back in the day on that 96.9 station. And it was Brett and Jerry in the morning, and the circus came to town. And they had this thing they would do with local DJs, you know, because they want you to talk about their circus. And so if they can get you involved in the circus, then they know you're going to talk about it more, and it gets to more people. So one of the things they did was there were certain things you could do with the circus. If you were a DJ, you could come participate in one of their something they did. I don't know what the other things was, but one of the things was you could be clowns. So I was going to be the guest ringmaster, and Jerry Broadway was going to be the guest clown. Well, they put us on this bench side by side, and they're going over what's your role as the guest ringmaster and what's your goal as the guest clown. And this person walks over and starts painting Broadway. So I had to get up and leave. Look, I knew it was Broadway. I worked for Broadway for years, love him like a brother. When they started putting that clown makeup on him, guest ringmaster had to go. It's time for me to head to the ring and start ringmastering. I don't want to be nowhere around you. I will hit you. No. And my brain, I don't know what it is. I know it's a mental defect. I understand that I have a mental defect. But he was no longer Jerry Broadway, trusted partner, longtime friend. Creepy clown. I will hit you with a frying pan right in the face if you come any closer to me. I will knee you in the man clangers, I promise you. And that was the end of that. Matter of fact, I'm not even sure I talked to Broadway the rest of the day. I think the next time we talked was next week at work. I wanted to make sure that he'd had plenty of chances to get that makeup on. Watch it 3-4 days in a row.
This is the Brett Mason Show. Hey, hey, hey.
So I saw this article from NPR. I enjoy reading the NPR sometimes. If you might have noticed over the past few years that more and more things are getting replaced by automation and machines. As a matter of fact, if I recall a couple of years ago, Barack Obama said that the reason the economy was in the gutter was because of ATMs. That's what crashed it, because there was no more bank tellers. Because that's what everybody was doing, you know. Everybody's job was being a bank teller. Everybody that's out of work was once a bank teller. So there's some jobs that lend themselves to be, outsourced or automated or whatever. So researchers put together this algorithm where they tried to look at current technology, past technology, how things have progressed, and attempt to predict the job market in 20 years, changes between now and 20 years from now. And these changes could happen in 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, 15 years, but it's just between now and 20. So now to the 20 maximum. And so it tries to predict what is the percentage of chance that your job will be automated by a machine or a computer or something like that. So I'm going to there's a link to this. It's in the article where you found this podcast. You can click it if you'd like. The thing I found interesting about it was a few jobs. Here's one, fashion models. There's a 97.6% chance fashion models' jobs will be automated in the next 20 years. Automated by what? Robots? Because I think, and pardon the pun, but it's a flesh industry. Modeling, and that's not being disparaging to models, but that's what it is. Flesh. It's human. It's the human part. It's the face, the beauty, the sexy, the legs, whatever. What do you replace that with? I don't understand what you replace that with. I mean, even if you went to computer-generated graphics for print, you went to animation for TV, you still got the live runway models, right? So, of course, it could be everything but that, I'm not sure. Sales and related. What else is under sales and related? Cashiers, 97% chance. Insurance sales agents, A 92% chance your job will be automated if you're an insurance sales agent. Let's see if we can find something else. Transportation and moving. Driver. Really? This says that a driver has a... That can't be right, because it says driver / sales worker. I'm guessing that's somebody who drives around and does sales. Let's look at garbage collectors. Holy cow, there's a 93% chance that garbage collectors' jobs will be automated. Surely not taxi drivers and chauffeurs. The more I look at this, the more I'm beginning to doubt the research that went into coming up with the algorithm here. What do you replace a taxi driver with? Teleporting? That's funny, because me and my mom were talking on the way back from UAB this week. I love trips. Let me tell you, I hate trips to UAB with my mom, because we're going up there for her to have chemo or to get tests, and try to, win out over something that when you first hear about it, you wonder how you're going to win. I'm going to say, my mom is just awesome. My mom's amazing and doing well. But I hate the reason that we go to UAB, but we're 4 hours in the car up there, 4 hours in the car back. So we get to talk a lot. Me and my mom talk a lot. My mom's learned probably more about me than she wishes she ever do. Not all of it good. And I've learned a lot about my mom. But one of the things that we were talking about coming back up there was Star Trek, and I wonder when we'll be teleporting around, because basically everything in Star Trek has come to pass. I thought of that because I had my iPad. I always take my iPad up there because she's doing a lot of things, and I'm just sitting and waiting a lot of time. So I got my iPad, and I'm watching TV or movies or TV shows or YouTube or something, doing research. And, they were basically walking around with iPads on Star Trek Next Generation. Everybody had an iPad, and that's how they transferred data to each other. That's what we do now. If I got some on my iPad, I can just shoot it to you, and you've got it, and we can share it. So, everything on Star Trek has come true, so teleportation is next. So I start wondering, though, so maybe, I know Google is doing those cars. Matter of fact, I just read a news story last week where those Google driverless cars that they've been testing now for several years, they think they just logged their millionth mile. So out of these driverless cars Google has out test driving, 1,000,000 miles now, basically accident free. So they're getting closer. So maybe that's the future. You got these driverless taxis. I tell you, one of the reasons I say this is because of our drives to UAB. I would trust a Google car more than most of these people drive it. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So let me take a hit and a miss at one more. What is something people around here do? Medical. Healthcare. Let's do healthcare. I'm guessing this would probably be a good one if you're in this. If you're a dentist, there's only a 0.4% chance of your job being automated. Thank God for that. An oral and maxillofacial surgeon, 0.4% chance. If you're a physician assistant, you're still in pretty good shape. Only a 14% chance that your job will be automated. It's kind of interesting. If you want a link, you want to look up your job, it'll be in the blog post where you found the button to push and listen to this. And so you can check it out there. And everything that was on the show, you can look out and check out as well. Real quick, we're going to wrap things up in just moments. And tips to quit smoking. I promise you we'd do that. I'll have tips from Heather Bastel. I mainly got her on because I just love listening to her voice.
This is the Brett Mason Show. Hey, hey, hey.
All right, Heather Bastel. I found Heather on from a YouTube search, how I found Heather. And so Heather's quit smoking way back in the 90s and has an interesting take on what I think are, because being somebody that had smoked and tried a lot of different things, I really like what Heather has to say about stopping smoking and, the approach you should take and what you should look for on your path. And I just love listening to her talk. Look, if I fall asleep while she's talking and when she's done, I don't come back, just know that I fell asleep listening to one of the most amazing voices I've ever heard. And in that case, I'll see you later. But I'll try to wake up in time to come back. So if you're battling stopping smoking, check this out. And then also in the article, there's a link to her YouTube channel and videos. You can learn more from her and some more of her ideas.
If I was to share with you the best tips for stopping smoking, there were two things that I did. One was that I worked out how many cigarettes I smoked each day, and then I gave each of those cigarettes a mark from 1 to 5, and a 1 meant I didn't really need them. So a 1 would be one of those cigarettes that I would light up and think, do you know, I don't really want this. Or I'd light up and I'd realise there was one already in the ashtray. So I knew I could cut down, I could get rid of those straight away. A 5 would be, someone's going to have to die if I can't get a cigarette right here and right now. The feeling was so strong for those ones. So I realised I could start to cut down the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, and eventually the 4s. But the 5s I knew I was going to have a challenge with. So that's a good tip, to start getting rid of them if you want to cut down. The other tip is that after I stopped, I told myself that I had a choice. If I wanted to smoke, I could. And that made all the difference, because I kept a packet of cigarettes. It was open. There was only about 10 or 12 left. And I put it on a shelf where I could see it. And it gave me permission, if you like. I was in total control. I could say, I don't want one just now. Or if somebody offered me a cigarette, I'd say, no thanks, not just now. So it was giving my inner mind the idea that I could if I wanted to, but I was choosing not to. Because for me, one of the reasons I think I failed the other 4 times was because it was like I was telling myself I could never ever smoke again. And that's like taking something away from someone and saying you can never have that. You immediately start to want it and you start to crave it. So that was my other tip. That kept me so strong and I felt like I was in real control. So that's my second tip that worked for me.
There we go. Thank you so much for celebrating my 1 year smoke-free anniversary with me today, heading into the weekend for everybody. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Boy, I got a lot of great interviews lined up. Next week, I'm gonna have Amy Pollard is gonna be on one of the shows with me. I'm gonna have Bud Broadway on one of the shows with me next week. It's gonna be a big week of podcasts next week. Do me the biggest favor ever and share this on your Facebook page. I would love you forever. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Talk to you next week.